All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. This is Great Millstone of Virginia, as always, to give latest news, articles, lessons through the Spirit and the Body of Yabashimi Al-Shai. But as always, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashim, Rakakwadash. I want to say double honor to the elders, the Great Millstone, who will teach of the truth. And of course, I want to say peace and blessings and salutation to you, Akamai, the person of truth throughout the four corners, and lead to the best of ability, scatter the four corners. With that, I want to say shalom. All right, I can just want to get into this situation that's going on this past week, man. Basically about, as a matter of fact, since it's already right here, and now mind you, this is Virginia, so it says that Virginia has 36 missing children in 11 days, yet nobody's talking about it. All right, like I said, this was on pretty much 3 days ago, but just updated 4 hours ago. So let's read this. So after a long day of work studying for a upcoming August set, I want nothing more than to go home and catch up with the latest internet gossip. A few days ago, in the heat of my doom scrolling, I came across a video talking about missing children in Virginia, and I hadn't seen anything about this issue at the time. TikTokers aren't particularly known for their trustworthiness, so I dismissed the story to hearsay. Days later, I saw another TikTok. The numbers of missing children increased from 20 to 36. The issue now seems to be more real and more pressing, even on the source that could hardly be considered trustworthy. Yeah, because nowadays what I'm saying, you can't trust the mainstream media. Because why isn't the news talking about this? Why isn't this being more of an uproar? The fact that you have real people, genuine people, actually looking this stuff up, like, hey, where are the missing children? Now, mind you, these people have already been to the police station. You know what I'm saying? And of course, when you look at the children, I'm talking about primarily the so-called Negrotinos and Native Americans. You know that these damn Edomites really don't give a damn, and we know that majority Centaurians are Edomites, so-called white people. And we know go down to the deep root of it. We know that again. Being Virginia, there's a lot of ports. It's close to D.C. It's right there next to D.C. That's what they call it, DMV. You know what I'm saying? D.C., Virginia, and Maryland. We look at the word DMV. So, like, pick up the pieces. You know what I'm saying? We know what they do behind closed doors with these code names like Pizzagate. And, again, that's where these top politicians, all right? But I'm not going to get them to delve into it, but we know the issue behind that. Again, they're all cahoots behind it. Because it's not a coincidence that you have 36 children so far. That's going to show you that this is an inside job. And we know what they do with these children. They're showing in movies like the movie Taken. You know what I'm saying? How they use it for organ harvesting, sex trafficking. You know what I'm saying? When they put them in these ships or containers or put them in these white vans and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They show you, these sick individuals. All right. And now all of a sudden, now mind you, now go back to that video in Virginia. Now mind you, now all of a sudden this ice cream truck is coming out at nighttime. When did this ever occurred? This never ever occurred. So, but let's go watch the video.
Where is it? Oh, there it is. Oh, that's creepy.
I don't know if you guys have heard the news, but over 50 children have gone missing in Virginia, and still, no alarm bells are going off, no major news organization is talking about it. So what's actually happening? So lately, over the past several days, I've been getting tagged non-stop in these videos, and a lot of them are the exact same theme. It shows an ice cream truck driving at nighttime, which is a very odd time for an ice cream truck to be operating, and it coincides with this story that people have been talking about. Over 50 children have gone missing in Virginia over the past 2 weeks. What's really interesting about this topic is the only place people are taking this seriously is on TikTok, and usually that's for a very good reason, as you guys will soon find out. Looking at the facts here, over the past roughly 2 weeks from
You see the kids that's missing? So-called Latinos and Native Americans. Look at this, that Newport News.
August 1st to August 13th, there have actually been 39 children reported missing in the state of Virginia. And that might sound like a really high number, but factually and statistically, this is actually much lower than average. On average, Virginia actually reports over 90 children missing per week, as opposed to the low number of 39 every 2 weeks. And while that number might seem extremely high, that's for a good reason as well. It's because Virginia is extremely proactive with reporting these kinds of things, whereas most states wouldn't take a lot of these cases seriously. To really drive this point home, Virginia has reported since January of 2025, 3,300 children missing. Very high figure, but only 4% of those children that were reported missing are still missing. Most of them have been returned to their legal guardians. That being
So, get to ask yourself, so those are returned, what happened to them? You know what I'm saying? What they usually, these mainstream media or these guys, they usually like to tell you, the first thing they tell you is, oh, they ran away. They ran away. Ran away to where? You know what I'm saying? That's what they tell their parents, man. When all actuality, we know that some of this stuff is an inside job, man. This is nothing new. You know what I'm saying? This is where, most times when, like I said, behind closed doors, they would sell their children, man. And like I said, in Jacob's Trouble, you're going to see more of that. These parents giving up their children, like I stated before, man. You know what I'm saying? When it gets real gritty and tough out here, like I said, man, they're going to use their children as commodities. But let me go get this scripture right. This is a good one. And this is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. It says, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth unto the other, and thou shalt serve other gods, which thou thy father have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations thou shalt find no ease, neither shall thy foot have rest, for the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart, and filling eyes, and sorrowful mind. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 60. Let me see. Verse 64 says, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth and unto another, and thou shalt serve other gods, neither shall thy fathers have known, neither wood or stone. And among these nations thou shalt find no ease, neither shall thy foot have rest. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing eyes, and a sorrowful mind. Yeah, and this is what happens, man. You know what I'm saying? This is nothing new. This goes back to all the way to during slavery, man. You know what I'm saying? When our forefathers during the Atlantic trades, it's like the slave trade, going to the west coast of Africa, up to the shores of America. All right, being auction blocked, separated from our families. All right, lost our identity. All right, and our nationality, man, our language. All right, turned to a new language. All right, serving under these Edomites. You know what I'm saying? When you have kids, you get to a certain age, they be taken to one plant to another. This is nothing new. The scripture says, "What? There's no new thing under the sun." We just live in a modern day, man, and this is what happens, man. All right, we read verse 29, and it says, and thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind of growth in darkness. Thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt not be oppressed or spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. This is what happens, man. You know, when you don't have a father, a household, when you don't have a community to look out for each other, your children just gather off the street. All right. When she gets to a certain age, when she becomes teenager, she come, you know what I'm saying, a certain age, they become rebellious. You know what I'm saying, going partying, drinking, not being wise. All right. The next thing you know, they kidnapped. They gone. This is what happens, man. This is verse 41. It says, thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go in captivity. And this is the outcome. You know what I'm saying? This is a prime example. You know, but let's keep watching.
Been returned to their legal guardians. That being said, while I certainly don't agree with the misinformation that's being spread, and I think that people are fear-mongering here for views, I still think that ice cream trucks running around at 9 p.m. at night, that is quite odd. It seems like outside of the normal working hours, and if I had a kid, I probably would not let them go up to that ice cream truck by themselves. Just saying. As always, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Drop a comment letting me know.
Maybe fake or not, But the point is, though, but you get the message, man. Again, it's not a coincidence. So, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? You know, somehow for the Akim, they got their children, man. You know what I'm saying? You got to watch over your children, man. As the scripture says, man, you know what I'm saying? For the single mothers, you know, especially of our nation, you know what I'm saying? They leave their eggs like ostrich, man. I'm not going to get, delving too deep on it, but I just want to get the quick news out, man, about, again, this is the part of the curses, man. This is what happens when you don't monitor your children. But I'm going to get one last scripture. This is 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8. And it says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walk about seeking whom he may devour. And that's the whole point. Will you let your children out free and be rebellious, not keep a watch of your daughter, as the scripture says? You know what I'm saying? When she has liberty to get abroad, this is what's going to happen. And as you can see, you know what I'm saying? This is the outcome. So if our people knew the scriptures, they wouldn't be in this predicament, the situation that we're at. But, I just wanted to give this quick, info news out there. So hopefully brothers was edified. This is great. This is GMS as always to give the latest news, article lesson through the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahshai. As always, first and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor due to Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, Bashim Kakodash. I want to say double honor to that was a great millstone who will teach us the truth. Of course, and say peace and blessings and salutation to Yakim out there poisoning truth throughout the focus of earth, to the best abilities, scatter the focus of earth, and don't say shalom.